welcome to PROcrastinate, a podcast for procrastinators. My name is Athena Kablenyu. I'm a comedian, I'm a writer, I do other stuff, but I also procrastinate. This podcast is basically me talking to other creatives and interesting people about their process, how they get things done. I'd like to feel either better about myself or worse about myself. I don't know. Hopefully you get something out of it too. Today I'm talking to a fantastic comedian, actor, director, writer. Her name's Maria Shehata. I give her a terrible introduction in the podcast, which I do apologize for in the podcast, but I'm going to apologize again here too. But I kept it in because, hey, it's a chat cast and we're chatting and it's all good and it's all love. So let me stop procrastinating. Let's start. Maria Shehata. Welcome to Procrastinate. Is that what I called it? I can't even remember what I called my podcast.
It was like PRO that was capitalized.
Yeah. I stylized it with the Procrastinate because I am a professional procrastinator and I've decided to invite my friends and colleagues and acquaintances, basically anybody who can help me procrastinate. Do you see what I did? It's getting less and less funny. The more I say it, I might change the title of the podcast.
I know. I think you should double down. I think every time you say procrastinate, and just make sure you really know that we know. Right. You know, it's funny.
It's funny, but also too because it's a podcast which is work. So welcome to my house to help me procrastinate. Comedian, writer. What else? What's the after that next comma?
Actor, director. I do it all.
Do it all. Maria Shehata.
Hi.
Hey. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
We'll record a better intro after that.
No, that was perfect.
Was it?
It was messy and I loved it.
We start every podcast with the first question. What should you be doing rather than doing this podcast right now? What have you parked to be here today?
Going to yoga and rewriting a script.
Oh, okay. One of those things is procrastination. One of those things is like you don't have to go to yoga. Like there's no...
I don't have to write that. No one's asking for the script.
Do you find it easy or hard to write?
I find it hard, incredibly hard, especially just getting into it. And once you get into it, it's a little bit easier, but I feel like it's always impossible to get into it.
Yeah. I'm
like, I only have 8 free hours today. That's not enough time to get into it. So.
What are we doing with the rest of the 16 hours that
well,
like some of it's sleeping?
8, sure. Yeah. So there's 8 left, right? And then, that's just like worrying about whatever gig is in the evening.
Right.
I think anxiety takes up about 16 hours of my day.
Yeah. How long have you been a freelancer for? Like a creative freelancer?
Since like 8 years.
And did you have like a normal job where these concerns weren't even an issue like before or during like being a creative freelancer?
I think what happens when you have a normal job is you have a good excuse why something's not getting done. So you're like, well, I worked all day today, so I couldn't write. I worked all day. That's like the whole. I worked 7 hours, so there's no way I could possibly think of anything else.
Yeah. It's nice to have that excuse, but I used to think to myself, I was way more productive when I had a day job. I used to think that, right? And then I actually really thought about what I've been able to do since not having a job, and actually like it's way more.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's funny because like when you have a job, like you know what free hours you have, and so the pressure to use them I think is more. I think I feel like I did get more done when I had a job because so I work at 12, so I have from 8 to 10 to get this done, then I can shower and go to work. Yeah. And it's just like when I have nothing in the day, then I sleep in a bit, and then I'm like, well, maybe I'll go to yoga, and I'm like, well, then I gotta eat lunch. I'm a bit tired. I'll get around to it. I'm gonna watch Netflix. It's just like you're like always have more hours. Yeah. I could do it a bit later, so I'm just gonna watch a few episodes of this thing, and then I'll get to it. And then you don't, and then your day's gone, and then that happens over and over again.
Do you think we should engineer like pretend day jobs? Placebo day jobs.
That's good.
So it's kind of like, I empty bins, and you could just walk up and down your street and just like. Maybe that's a terrible example, but like
that's hilarious.
Maybe we should just pretend to be accountants or lawyers or just something where just we should walk out of a house at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And not full time, maybe part time, and come back at 3 having done a job that we pretended to do.
But are we actually working at a job?
I haven't. I mean, I'm sounding it out at the moment.
You know,
in my head.
We'll trade houses. So I'll show up here at 8:30, and then you leave, and then you can show up at my place at 8:30. We've clocked in, and then you can just work at my place,
and you could take my kids to school and nursery.
Okay, I
and
didn't think that out. What time are you done doing all that?
9:30.
Great. So
and
9:30.
then there's like, oh God, this whole like, not to like go off on a tangent, but like heteronormativity is as bad as people say it is. Like, it's awful. You get home and their breakfast shit is everywhere, and there's always 4 loads of laundry to do, and I don't know where it comes from, and it just kind of self-generates, and then there's always some form of cleaning to be done because your house just gets messy, and then you think to yourself, well, they have to eat all the time and they'll be back home in 8 hours or whatever, so then you kind of prepping their dinners, and then by that time it's about 10:30, 11, and then I can kind of sit down. But then I think to myself, well, that's quite close to lunchtime. Why would I start working and then have a little break for lunch? And I'm not a big lunch eater, but I will have a nibble. And then I think to myself, I haven't exercised for a few days, so I might, if the weather's nice, I'll go for a run because I don't like to waste the sunshine in London. And then all that stuff happens, and then I've got 2 hours to do like 7 hours worth of work.
Yeah. It's so familiar. Minus all the having to prep for kids stuff because I don't have kids. But I have definitely like my friends with kids have like talked to me about the laundry thing. And I felt that over lockdown with the dishes. I was like, it's just like I'm never not doing dishes.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like there's always dirty dishes, and I just don't understand, why is this my entire life?
Why don't we just eat off one plate going forward?
Why is this? And I don't even have kids, but I know that mentality of just like, well, I don't want to start this because I have this thing hanging over my head. And I think that's anxiety.
Yeah.
Or it's like ADHD because you know how focused you can get on something, so you don't want to get into it if you can't stay that focused.
Yeah, there's a big thing. Obviously, like, we're both creative, so we know a lot of people in our community they're either coming in knowing they have ADHD or anxiety, or they're being like late diagnosed, and they're going, but I also think that the reason why I started by this podcast is because I think, like, obviously procrastination isn't always related to neurodiversity. It's just something people do. And I think that lots of creatives procrastinate because there's something about the way your brain works when you procrastinate that suits making stuff up for a living. Does that make sense? Like, if you're like, if you do something really formal, like if you're like a judge, you can't like I'm an R over like stuff in life. I
would be the worst judge because I'm always off daydreaming. I can't stay focused. You know how like with improv you have to be listening so that you can respond, and I always fucked up in improv because I forgot to listen. My brain just takes off all the time, and so if I were a judge, oh my God, I'm like, sorry, can you repeat the entire testimony? Do you mind? I missed it.
I sentenced you to. Oh wait. Were they guilty? Like, can we get VAR on the?
Sorry, I saw this really cute meme on Instagram. It had a cat. That's my bad.
Yeah, so I think that, and then we are in contexts where you naturally are anxious because, like, if you go into my diary into like September or October, there's nothing there that will make you feel anxious, right? And there will always be something there because we're good at what we do and we'll always pick up something, but that'll make you feel like a little bit and there's something quite comforting about being told what to do and then you go, well, I'll just do it, and when I do it, my task will be done, and somebody whose job it is to tell me what to do will be happy, and then you're happy. But when you're the person telling yourself what to do, that's when you can kind of spiral, because we are our own managers, we're our own HR consultants, we're our own accountants. Like, this system, this network that people have to keep everything kind of orderly in their lives when they go to work. We don't have that, other than maybe our managers. We don't really have any of that. We do it all ourselves. We do our own networking, we do our own promotion, So it's like when we feel like these like feelings of like anxiety or stress, we don't always contextualize them. We just go, we feel this way, but we don't actually say, oh, we feel this way because of all these things. And most people in our reality would probably feel this way a little bit as well, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's really hard to like, make yourself. This is why people have life coaches and career coaches, and they need somebody to be accountable to. And if it's me, if I'm accountable to me, like I don't give a shit if you get it done or not. I don't know. Like I wish I could pay someone to. I mean, I'm sure I could. What I should do is just get a friend and say like, if like I need to write to. Actually, okay, sorry, my thoughts are everywhere. I did do that with a friend. We would write to each other every Friday and we'd have to send 20 new pages of whatever we were writing to each other on Fridays.
Right.
And we held each other accountable for that. And of course there were times where we didn't do it, but most of the time we did. And so I got so much more work done than if I wasn't, if it was just me.
Yeah.
And then I ended up doing that for a stranger because it was this girl in America who had written on a Facebook group. It was like a writer's Facebook group, and I just reached out to her, and I was like, well, if you want, you can send, which is kind of a dangerous thing to have somebody send you their writing, because they could be like, they could accuse you of stealing anything. I've never once opened any of her PDFs, but so it helped her get work done.
Yeah, accountability partners.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because that's what we don't have. We're just kind of on our own. And I didn't realize how different it is until this year. It was the first year I've had to go away for a few days for work. Just to make life easier, my partner, who doesn't work from home normally, was like, well, for a couple of those days, I'll just work from home. It's just easier to pick up the kids and do all the stuff that you normally do. And then when I got back, he was like, how'd you do it? And I was like, do what? And he was just like, just sit in the house alone. It never really occurred to me that it was this really kind of, not stressful, but it isn't always pleasant. It isn't always easy to sit down and open your laptop and just get on with stuff, because you're distracted by all the home stuff you've got to do.
I have to leave.
Yeah, right?
It's really hard for me to write at home.
It's it's hard for me to start writing.
Yeah.
Once I get started, I'm like Jessica, the Murder, She Wrote.
yeah.
Whatever her name.
But getting into it.
Once I start, it's amazing, but it's like starting in fifth gear on a hill in a car.
Right.
Yeah, it's
That's
just like,
a good analogy.
oh my God, how do I get my brain to do this? And most of it is just I'm surrounded by the distractions of other things I need to do, and also things that I enjoy doing. So we've got a spin bike. I quite enjoy doing a 15-minute interval bit on the spin bike.
Oh, yeah.
I love a nap. I'm a real sloth. Like, I will climb into bed and have a good power nap, which is a terrible, terrible thing when you have stuff deadlines.
Yeah. I can't nap. I feel really dirty if I nap during the
really?
day. I feel so bad.
How do you feel? I wish I felt dirty.
No.
I wish naps made me hate myself. I never feel better than when I've had a nap.
Oh, if it's really hot, I'll have a nap. Like,
Yeah.
I used to nap in LA when I lived there all the time because it's just hot. And it's just like, I can't actually deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't have a nap. But what I'll do is like, I'll be like, you know what I need to do is research this thing that I'm writing about as I'm like writing, and then I'll just turn on Netflix's research. I'm like, well, Monk probably knows what I'm trying to do.
That's brilliant. Diagnosis murder. Yeah, just all the old noughties daytime stuff.
Yeah.
So if you can't work at home, where do you go to work, and where are the best places do you think? Where are the places to go to kind of get writing?
I mean, I always go to a coffee shop that's laptop friendly. There's one by my place that can be okay. I have gotten stuff done there, but it's like such a small space, and sometimes people work without their headphones, so they'll take Zoom meetings with no headphones, or like I don't know. I get very pissed off very easily.
How does that work? You can't, because surely on the Zoom you can't be heard because it's just background noise.
I don't know why people do this. It just seems like because of the pandemic, everybody got used to working from home, and then they've just taken this mentality that this space doesn't seep into anything else, and they bring it to a coffee shop, and now I'm at work with you.
Right.
And I don't understand, because I'm trying to do my own work that doesn't involve this. Like, I have a joke where I'm like, I just want to lean in and be like, I'm going to need next Friday off. We have to talk about that raise. So I get really particular about spaces, but if I find a space, like there's one place I like, but the guy who works there whistles, and I have misophonia, so I can't deal with whistling.
Okay, and just to be, misophonia is like when just a dislike of like just humans making noise.
Yeah, it's like certain trigger noises. So for me, gum chewing and whistling are my biggest ones. I can't stand.
You don't need misophonia to not like whistling. Whistling is unacceptable. Unsolicited whistling. Like, why are you doing that? This is not Mary Poppins.
I don't understand whistlers, but I mean, I think some people are annoyed by it, but I'm in a rage state.
Yeah.
Like, I'm rageful and disgust. So if I see someone chewing gum, like, I have to remove myself from the situation because I will want to vomit and punch them in the face. It's a weird reaction. So
it's not weird. There's a name for it, right? So
yeah.
it's, but yeah, that means it's difficult then, because ideally you'd be at home to work because there's no one at home making these noises. But then you have to go outside to work, and it's all well and good until someone comes and starts with the bubble gum and starts blowing bubbles. So
it's everybody else's fault, really. Because even when I'm at home, like, my upstairs neighbors, like, she plays piano and she sings, and I'm just like, it's too much.
Yeah,
it's just like, I can't get away from noise. But yeah, I mean, I have noise canceling headphones. I do what I can, and I'm, it's most of the time it's fine. It's just there's always like, I'm always watching out for like what's going to distract me, what's going to piss me off.
So what is there anything that you think, oh man, like, procrastination cost me this? Like, is there anything that is like, oh, if only I hadn't waited, if only I
think I've wanted to write a book for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I haven't.
Do you know something? I think if you was to ask most people, they'd say book. Lots of people want to write a book.
Why? No one reads books anymore.
They do. So many people read books. So that's true in that nobody actually know. You don't have to sell a lot of books to be like a bestseller. It's like, I think it's like 1,000.
Someone just said this to me.
Yeah, it's
like a lot lower than you would think it was.
Because and that's mainly because like most releases come out in hardback, and a hardback book is 20 quid. Right. Yeah. So who's spending £20 on a book? And then by the time it comes out in paperback, other books have come out. But yeah, you only have to sell. I think it's thousands. It's single figure, like four figures. And what would your book be about? Do you know?
Well, because I wanted it to be a bunch of essays, just like a memoir or a bunch of essays. But I, just talking to a few people about that, I've just kind of been told I don't have the profile for it because it's hard to sell a memoir about a celebrity or somebody well known or somebody with a big social media following. It's hard enough for them to sell one, but for me, it's like, who are you?
Well, I've got a theory about making stuff. Just write it. Don't think about what sellers want or what publishers want, because otherwise, like. Because it changes. It changes so much.
It really does. And you're absolutely right. But what kind of procrastinator would I be if I just wrote it?
I secretly have invited my people here to find out what it is they really want to do. So I can say, no, you've got to do it. But I think this is the enemy. This is our ultimate enemy. The fact that if we didn't procrastinate, if we used every minute of our day to do what we want to do sort of creatively, 90% of what we do, in fact 95% of what we do, people be like, nope, we don't want it. Yeah. So it's kind of like that kind of feeling of, I'm doing this, but knowing that there isn't really anyone that wants to buy it from me, and knowing that it probably won't go anywhere other than, a nice folder in my laptop. That is also something that drives procrastination, because it feels so, what's the point?
Yeah, but I want to do it. So I don't know. It almost feels like stand-up was a shadow career. It was like what I did because it was easier than writing a book.
and now it's like you're slowly getting through all the activities that are easier than writing a book. Right. I'll be like, what are you doing today? Oh, I'm just, I'm learning how to juggle. It's like,
exactly.
Write a book.
Oh yeah. I'm like, I'm trying out for the Olympics today because I have this book I need to write.
But writing is hard, right? And writing a book is the ultimate form of writing. Like, there's nothing. It's the writiest thing you can do. Like, is write a book. It's even writier than like writing a script.
Right? Because I've written feature-length movies. And then whatever, pilots. I've written scripts. Fine, no problem. And I've written essays here and there. I've never written a bunch that I've collected and put together as a book. Yeah. I've never written a book. I don't know why. The writingest form of writing.
Are there any essayists you admire?
David Sedaris.
Oh, yeah.
And Augustin Burroughs. And I feel like I should have more, but those are the two guys that made me want to get into writing.
David Sedaris is I wish I was a raconteur. I could never write a memoir because I've got the worst memory. I don't remember anything.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Like, he's so good at remembering things, or he makes it up. But yeah, I can't remember anything either. I have to write it down right away. It's gone.
I once had a tryout. It wasn't really a tryout. I was like, you know, the show Would I Lie to You?
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, we'd love you to be a backup guest. I was like, sure. And I had a big meeting with this guy who like interviewed me about facts about my life, and I was like, I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
I've got about 3 facts and I wheel them out all the time, and I don't like, I'm not great at that. And everybody in their life has had lots of, I know I've had entertaining things happen to me because I remember being entertained, and I know I've had like really like crazy and like,
well, it's kind of, it's like photography, isn't it? It's like you have to just capture it. You have to write it down right away, or it'll go. It's gone. Yeah. And David Sedaris has books published of just his daily diaries.
Yeah.
Of just like little snippets of what's happened to him during the day. And so I've started trying to do that, like, because I read somewhere like you should just write at least one sentence.
That's a good, write one sentence a day. That's such good advice. Yeah.
So then I have an app. This one's called Day One. So it's just like a daily diary entry thing. And I'm just like, just write one sentence, just something cute or weird or funny or out of the ordinary that happened today. And if not, just write anything.
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, obviously, inevitably you write a bit more and it's fine.
That's really good advice.
But it is, oh, thanks. But it is like being like, I see pretty things all the time. I just don't. It's like you have to actually, what are words? do consciously capture it.
Yeah, and be really intentional. Would you say your procrastination has gotten worse over time?
No, I think I've become more aware of it over time. I've gotten better about minimizing it. I have a productivity planner.
Yes.
Do you have one?
I've got so many. I've got.
I feel like that negates.
Yeah, I have a to-do list on my laptop, and I've got a planner on my desk, which is like a week planner.
Yeah.
And I've got another daily to-do list, and then and my calendar is like, you know, just all the colors of the rainbow.
Oh, nice.
But it actually worked. Like I'm saying this like, oh, it's ridiculous. None of this is wasted. Like it's really helps me understand what I am doing, what I'm not doing, and it helps me at least use the time I am willing to be productive really well.
Exactly. Yeah, because I have something that's like a Clever Fox planner, and it very rudely at the very beginning.
Clever Fox, is that the brand?
Yeah,
okay.
It very rudely asks, where do you want to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years?
Oh, wow. Like, it's like all your parents, your manager, like everyone in one. Oh, no, that sounds horrible.
Where do you want to be in your relationships? Where do you want to be in your career? Where do you want to be in this and that? And it forces you to think about it, right? And then it takes you a step back. So it's like, where do you want to be at the end of the year? Not 15 years. So it's like 1, 5, 10, 20. So where do you want to be in a year? Okay, so then if you want to do this in a year, what do you have to get done in these months? Now that you have the months down, like what do you have to do in the weeks to get the month thing done? And it helps so much. So then you're breaking down your day, and it's like, what are your top goals? You know, and it's like, what did you gain from this week? Where could you improve? And even if, and there's a habit setter too, so you can check something off if you.
You don't sound like a procrastinator. This sounds like amazing. I've never heard of this.
Only because I am a procrastinator. I am, but I'm just more aware of it, and so I do need it.
Yeah.
Because like I don't naturally do this on my own, and it takes me forever to get back into. Like right now, I'm out of the writing game, and it's like I have to get my head back in it. And even if I don't get everything done, I would have gotten like more done than I ever would without the planner.
Yeah.
Like you need it. Because I get so jumbled in my head. Like everything I want to do, I have so many interests, so many things I want to explore. Everything gets so jumbled, I don't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of even starting? I don't know my way through this. So
it's true. And I think that something that can happen out of necessity is that you can get spread very thinly across like the industry. So like, I don't know what your journey is. I started off as a stand-up, and that was it. I only wanted to be a stand-up because I didn't know what the implications of that was. I just thought I want to stand up in front of people, make them laugh, and I get paid. And then it's like, no, you can't do that for a living. You've got to do other things. So I was like, okay, I'll write too. Oh, you can't just do that for a living. You've got to do radio. So I was like, okay, I'll do that too. No, you can't just do that for a living. You've got to do a podcast. Okay, well, I guess I'll do that too. No, you can't just do that for a living. You know, you've got to do it with acting. Oh, okay. No, you can't do that for a living. Guess what? We need you to direct this. And then it sort of becomes well, I'll say yes because these things are cousins of comedy.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're kind of doing quite okay across a lot of things, but not so well in one thing that you can afford to kind of say no. And then it becomes like a kind of an overloaded, there's another vehicle analogy, like you're just going really slowly because there's too much piled on. But then if you get rid of it, then it's like really, that's quite a scary thing because you don't want to get rid of it. It's you enjoy it, and also there's someone's paying you to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, start with who's paying you to do what, and then put where you have fun into that after. But it is one of those. I mean, like, I think getting something done creatively that nobody's asking for is different than like, how can I make a living?
Yes. Yeah.
I find it harder to write. Like when I was paid to rewrite a script, that I had no problem reaching deadlines. I was writing, it was all flowing because it wasn't mine, it wasn't precious. And B, I was getting paid. And so it's like, that was a reward. Every time they sent me money, I was like, yay. And then I'm like, I want more of that. So but I'm not getting a reward and no one's paying attention. No one's really reading it. Even though eventually they could. It's just like, I'm not seeing any benefits from all the hard work I'm putting in.
Yeah.
I'm the only one asking for it. So
you're making it for the love of it, but that's not like helpful because it is a job. It's not just like, we're not hobbyists. Like, it is a job.
And it's like, people say like, well, you should do it for you. And like, you know, it doesn't matter if people like it or not. And it's like, to a point. But like, what if stand-up was like that? What if I'm like, then I would just get up in front of my mirror and say some jokes. I'm like, well, I love that. Fuck it if no one else did. Like, who cares?
So one of the reasons I started this podcast was because not only I think like which procrastinators are overrepresented in like generally like the creative community, we're also in a state of kind of decline in terms of opportunities to work, which is like quite scary to think about it. So not only are we kind of sat around going, we want to do all this work, like a bit like what we've been saying, like no one's really asking for it.
Yeah.
So it's like the point my fifth is like the point at which I'm like, right, I'm gonna do all these things I said I was gonna do. I'm gonna write all these things. That's the point where the industry just shuts the door and goes, nope, we're dead now. There's nothing for you. There's all seats are.
But they always do this, don't they? But feel free to make it yourself and put it online. No one's stopping you from making it yourself and putting it online. It's like, yeah, I have the money for that. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so I don't know where I was going with that really.
Oh, sorry.
But no, I've just not at all. Just that, just making, I was just terrifying us all a bit more.
Yeah.
But sorry, carry on.
Imagine when they are ready. Like, we're going to have so much stuff.
we are. Do you think that working with other people is something that would help you? Because you said before like accountability is good, but that's like you're still working alone. But
I have written with other people and it does help a lot because it's like when you get tired and they pick up the slack, and then when they get tired and you pick up the slack, that helps. But also just like, well, if I don't do this, it's not just me I'm letting down, it's them. Yeah. So I don't want to let someone else down. I'll let me down every day, all day. Yeah. But it helps to work with other people for sure. It's
letting external people judge you.
Yeah,
I think there's not a lack of, we get judged all the time like with stand-ups, but there is a lack of people kind of saying, well, it's June now, you said in January you said you were doing this, it's now halfway through the year. It's so without that kind of third party without that shame.
100%. It's all shame.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I wrote so much. I was in LA for 7 years and just doing open mics there. You could do 3 or 4 a night or something, 3 generally. But it was always the same comedians at every open mic. Right. So I was just like, you get to the point by the 3rd show that night, you're like, I can't say these words in front of these people anymore. I'm just going to say anything else. And it really forced you out of your material to just say whatever happened to me today or this week, or just to find something else to say. Yeah. Not that they were laughing anyway, because they weren't. Everybody was in their own heads. No one was thinking about it. But like, you're just like, you're not going to yuck it up with your tried and true in front of other comics 3 times a night. Stand
up is like a superpower. Like, even if you don't like it, you do like it when it is good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. But like, yeah.
Like, I did, this is going to sound so ridiculous, but I did, I did this show and it was like a new material night and it was just close to this place. I was doing another show. So I thought I'll come down and do some stuff for this person. And I got there and it was like an open mic night, but for anything. So there was like a guitarist and whatever. Yeah. And there was literally like, I mean, including the acts, there was like 6 people in this tiny room and a pub, you know. And I got there and I was like, oh, okay, well, I thought it's cool, man. Like, I know what you're in for when you do these kind of things. And then I done my little bit and I had so much fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was so much fun. And I just and it just kind of like, not to be like, make a fairy tale out of it. Hey guys, like, it's just, you don't need to be the Apollo, you know, it was so much fun. But I think what I enjoyed was kind of like knowing this was part of the process.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed knowing all the stuff that came out. Because obviously as soon as I got there, I was like, well, I can't do my jokes here, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not going to land. So I thought, well, these are all the things I want to talk about. And it was so fun. I was like, well, it wasn't what I expected, but actually I got some work done here today.
Yeah.
And it was no stakes and everyone enjoyed themselves. And I guess I felt differently about it because I was going to like a quote unquote proper show afterwards. So it kind of was like a bit of a warm up for me. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that like we often, when you're like a creative, you measure whether or not you enjoy something by like whether or not it's your like actual job. But that's not how art works.
In fact, if you turn it into your actual job, you'll hate it. Don't do that to your art.
But like, it's like the trick is to kind of get paid for it whilst you're still in that like that flow state that I was in that room. That's what I want to recreate in just a bigger stage, in a better place. So how could I not enjoy it? The trick is just to kind of to plot the path from that room to the better place, rather than to say I hate this room. Does that make sense? So that's how I've kind of always seen it. And what I was going to say was that it's really interesting when we talk about procrastination, you talk about it from more of like a writing point of view. So do you see yourself as a procrastinator when it comes to like your stand-up as well?
Yeah. I haven't really like worked on my stand-up all that much. It's not true. It's just that I'm turning my stand-up into like more of a theater show. I think I've mentioned this to you before.
Yeah.
And I feel like that makes me feel like I'm not growing as a stand-up, but I'm just kind of, I'm growing like if they're all spokes off a wheel, if it's like storytelling in the center or creativity in the center, it's just like I'm kind of putting stand-up down for a little bit to try theater out, which is a lot harder because you don't get that immediate feedback and all my stand-up instincts are still there.
Yeah.
So if people aren't laughing, but they are listening, but I don't know that they're interested, I'm like, well, here's a few jokes to get us going again.
And it's so hard. Like, if you want to, what we take for granted as stand-ups is like, especially ones that are based in London or just generally if you're based in the city, you can just go out and you can perform. Whereas putting on a theatre show is you can't just wake up and think, I want to do some theatre today. Like, there's a lot of planning.
Well, that's what I was telling my director. I'm like, I don't know what the next steps are, because I feel like if this were a stand-up show, I could just do a work in progress at the Bill Murray and I would be like, I could feel that forward momentum because I know how to make it.
Do you think you're less prone to procrastinate because you're now in a new field and it's the theatre, and so you've kind of like you've got this new path to kind of create, and you're just cutting through that is making you more able to just get things done and tick things off your to-do list?
Only because I'm working with somebody. If I were on my own and I didn't know what I was doing, I would probably procrastinate more because I'd be putting it away, probably just like, well, I don't know where this goes next, and I'll ask someone, I guess, and then who knows what I would move on to. Because I'm working with somebody, he can tell me, or like he'll be like, where are you at with this? Have you memorized these pages? What, and so there's all these like mini goals that he's helping me with, but yeah, so it's that accountability. Guys, get an accountability person.
Accountability, okay. And on that point, I think you being clearly a professional procrastinator, do you have any more things that you do to help you and that other people can't learn? The productivity tools. What was that really good one that you mentioned, which tells you how awful you are and how you have to sort your life out? What was that called? The one where it's like asks you your life goals for 20 years.
Oh, right. Oh, the Clever Fox.
The Clever Fox. Okay, so Clever
Fox.
Fox.
The Pro one.
Okay.
So it's big and like it's like an A4 size or something. A6. I don't know your A system. Anyway.
A4. It sounds like A4. It's just like some things are the same, man. Like it's not all like we didn't just like have a big fight 200 years ago and like separate.
We don't say A4 in the States.
Do you not say A4?
No, we say 8x10.
You really kicked us out. You
yeah,
really
we
were
did.
Like,
we
don't
really
want
did.
you and your English ways here.
Yeah. And we'll say French words when you don't, and then you say French words when we don't. It's weird.
Okay.
I'll talk about all that on another podcast. Where we talk
I'll start another podcast about all the countries that got rid of England.
Yeah, I got rid of England.
Yeah.
Definitely a Clever Fox planner. I think that was the biggest help of my procrastinating journey. The other thing I would recommend, besides the accountability coach in whatever form that takes, be it a director or just a friend, there's a book called The War of Art.
Wow, The War of Art.
Yeah, by Stephen Pressfield. And it's not so long that you would just procrastinate while you read it. It's short. it's so good at calling yourself out. It calls you out for what all your procrastinating reasons are. And then I don't know. I just found it really eye-opening.
The War of Art.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's helped you. You read that and you were like, right.
I've read it several times. And he has like 3, I think there are 3 or 4 in that series. That's the first one. But yeah, and it's a short read, but it really, really helps.
Maria, I think all those tips, I've absorbed them already.
Awesome.
Like I'm going to go and buy those books now. I'm going to ask you one final thing. Actually, I'm going to ask you one thing, and I'm going to ask you to tell me to do one thing. First of all, this is going to end soon. You'll be released out into the world, and you've got quite a lot of the day left. Oh. What are we going to do with the rest of the day? Come on. I'm going to be your accountability partner. What's going to happen with the rest of the day?
I'll be honest, probably nothing. I have a housemate moving in today, so I don't know that I'm going to just be able to get writing done, but maybe that's just an excuse, and I should go to a coffee shop and rewrite a draft of something that I only have a first draft for.
All right, this is on wax, as rappers say. It's being recorded. Okay, yeah. You were going to do that, and then you're going to welcome your new housemate in. And then
I have an eyebrow appointment at 4, so I have 2 hours to get this done.
Yeah, that's loads of time. And I need you to tell me to edit this today, otherwise it's never getting edited.
Athena, if you don't edit this today, I will have wasted my time and your time, so please do.
All right, I'm gonna as soon as I kick you out, I'm gonna get back onto this laptop and edit it. Maria, this has been cathartic. It's not just me, it's you as well. I want to build a community of people who should be doing other things but who are equally doing good things when they're not doing the other things, because it's all good. Like, I have to do laundry, right? Like, it has to be done. Like, we have to have clean clothes, and you have to wash up.
Exactly. But I can listen to myself doing my show and trying to memorize my show while I'm doing the washing
Another
up.
Tip, just like double task. Multitask, yeah. Amazing. Maria, really appreciate you coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
That was definitely the most practical episode yet. We've had great advice over the past few episodes, but download this app, read this book, get an accountability partner. Like, these are all really good, actionable things that we can all do. So we have a lot to learn from Maria. Maria is a fantastic stand-up. You should definitely follow her on her socials if you do not already, and all of the necessary links will be in the description of this podcast. I am online too. You can follow me as well, and there are various ways you can like, share, follow, comment on this podcast. You are free to undertake those endeavors as well. Thank you for listening to Procrastinate. We'll catch up next time.